Today, on a very windy Auto Social UK, we're stepping into a story which has been quietly building over the last few years. A little while ago now, CUPRA split from SEAT as its own performance brand, promising to be the one in the Volkswagen group that does things a little differently. While Volkswagen plays it safe, Audi aims for polished premium, and Skoda, they handle the sensible stuff, CUPRA said we'll be the disruptors. We'll make cars which are bold, emotional, and just a little bit rebellious. The Terramar is the next chapter in this story, and it's named after the historic Sitges Terramar racetrack in Spain, the place where CUPRA's motorsport roots first began. It's bigger than a Formentor, it's sportier than a Volkswagen Tiguan, and it wears a sharp suit that you'd expect from a brand which makes even a family crossover feel like a concept car brought to life. The model that I'm driving is the VZ1. This has a 2-litre TSI engine in the more powerful 265 PS tune with all-wheel drive. The sportier petrol version is the one which is aimed for people that still want to enjoy the proper feel of a petrol engine but need space for real life. Over the video, we're going to dig into all the different options available, powertrains, have a closer look at the design and the interior tech, and compare it to the fully electric Tavascan which I've recently driven. And most importantly, to see if CUPRA's promise of driving excitement survives in SUV form. By the end, you'll know if this bold family SUV finally makes you look past the usual German badges. Hi guys, my name's Tish and welcome back to Auto Social UK. If you want to see all of those questions answered, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I've also heard you guys, I know this has become a very CUPRA heavy channel over the last month, but I had some catching up to do. I hadn't done anything CUPRA in ages, but this is the last piece of the puzzle. So if you want to see more content from other brands, then make sure you hit the subscribe button. First of all, however, let's talk about the different engine options that you can get on the CUPRA Terramar. The Terramar family starts with the 1.5-litre eTSI mild hybrid, a 150 PS engine which in my opinion is everything you should ever need. It's fast enough, but more importantly, it's also incredibly efficient. But maybe the point of turning to a CUPRA is that you want something with, well, a little bit of drama. And sitting above the eTSI are two 2-litre petrol TSI engines. There's a 204 PS 4-drive and then this 265 PS 4-drive version. This nippier model has 400 Nm of torque and will hit the 0 to 62 in about 5.9 seconds. And what about if you prefer electrification? Or more realistically, what about if you want to lower your company car tax? Well, there are also two e-hybrids, plug-in hybrids, a 204 PS again and a VZ badged 272 PS with both a usable 70 plus mile electric range and class-leading 50 kilowatt DC fast charging. All models are creeping close to the £40,000 mark. Pricing in the UK starts from just above £38,500 for the V1 up to £52,500 for the America's Cup car, and every model has a 5-year or 90,000 mile warranty. CUPRA calls this SUV a homage to the Sitges Terramar racing circuit, and that's where the brand was born. At just over 4.5 metres long and 1.863 metres wide, it's noticeably larger than the Formentor, but it's compact enough for UK roads. The front wears a shark nose grille, big air intakes and matrix LED ultra triple triangular headlights. Proper CUPRA theatre. Around the back there's a full width LED light bar which is illuminated with the CUPRA badge, while sharp creases and chunky arches give it a stance of a concept car which has made it to production. The one thing that I'm not too keen on is around the rear. The bottom diffuser just isn't aggressive enough for a 2-litre petrol car. This engine is based on the Golf R engine, especially with 4-wheel drive, and I would have loved to have seen some physical tailpipes. They can still do it on the CUPRA Leon, so why haven't they done it on the Terramar? Just as it's decided that it's going to rain, let's come into the interior and let's talk about the interior. Now, I do understand it's getting a little bit samey. I've done a lot of Cupras recently, and one of my favourite things about Cupras is their interiors, but they do share all a similar look, which is not a bad thing. And I do think I like the interior of this car a little bit better than the Tavascan. The Tavascan is very out there. This is a bit more palatable, but it's still a little bit more modern than, say, the Ateca, or if you go for the Formentor. Things that I do like. Now, this does actually have 2 cup holders, which will hold 2 cups side by side. So if you've watched my Tavascan review, I said that it was really annoying that you couldn't put 2 coffee cups side by side, but you can do that inside here. Because we've got a more conventional centre console, we haven't got that kind of boning on the interior as the Tavascan. You've also got plenty of storage inside the armrest. There's a little bit of wireless charging down there, but that's kind of it. There's nothing underneath like there was in the electric Tavascan, because this does have a proper gearbox. So you need all that space under there to include the gearbox. Things that I love: steering wheel, mentioned it a ton of times. I love the steering wheel on Cupras. This is even better because we've got paddles behind the steering wheel and they properly work with the engine as well. You've also got a Cupra badge on the left to put it into your full performance mode. And then we've kind of got this almost mixed between carbon, but it is a much cheaper material, which runs on the centre console and across the dashboard as well. I've also got interior lighting, which spans the exterior of the cabin, and that's interactive as well, which I quite like when you're driving. The seats. Now, let's talk about the different materials. So if you go for the entry-level cars, you actually get a recycled cloth, which is quite nice. It's used from recycled marine matter, so marine plastics. That's a nice thing, but it isn't the best quality. I love these. So these are the micro suede. You've got suede down the centre, and then you've got this kind of leather effect around the outside. You've got Cupra badges embossed in the headrests, and also copper stitching as well. So this feels nice. I really like this. And then the highest spec model, so the VZ2, and if you go for the Cup Americas, that actually has a leather in either like a purpley or a grey. It's very out there, and if you want something which does feel special, then probably that's going to tick the box. But this is nice enough. And in the VZ1 version, we do have electric seats, which is quite nice when you have kind of bucketed seats, because often they're not actually electric. So I do like that they are electric, and also they are heated, but they're not cooled. So with the Tavascan, I had the top spec VZ2, and that had cooled seats as well. So just a little bit lower spec inside of here, but still it's very, very nice. And you can also get an upgraded Sennheiser sound system, which is really good. That is a very, very impressive sound system, and it sounds so clear and so beautiful. I will die on the hill that alloy wheels completely transform a car's personality. So you get 18s as standard, and these are the 19s. And even still, personally to me, I think the tyre wall just looks a bit too chunky, and it underplays the aggression. If you step up to the 20s, I think that's what transforms this car, and suddenly the Terramar looks every bit the performance SUV that Cupra intended. Paint choices are equally daring, so you've got Century Bronze and a Dark Void, which are both this matte colour, and you also get a few other choices, all which match perfectly together with those bronze details or copper details that you get on the Cupra, which always gives it a super smart look. On the road, the Terramar shows that Cupra hasn't forgotten its performance DNA. This is built on the MQB Evo chassis with sport suspension. It sits 10mm lower than the Volkswagen Tiguan. The progressive steering is quick off-centre, and it gives confidence on B roads. Select Cupra mode, and the dynamic chassis control stiffens the dampeners. The 4-drive all-wheel drive system also shuffles the torque invisibly, keeping the nose tucked in. Plant your right foot and the 2-litre TSI responds instantly. 265 PS, 400 Nm of torque, that makes overtakes effortless. And the 7-speed DSG snaps through the gears crisply, though in stop-start traffic it can hesitate slightly. Ride quality is firm even in comfort, and over broken tarmac you will feel its sporty setup. The BMW X1 is probably plusher here. CUPRA pipes in synthetic growl in CUPRA mode. It's fun, but it is a bit artificial to keen ears. Compared with the Tavascan, this petrol model feels lighter at the nose and more connected. While the Tavascan does counter its instant torque and silent running, the choice comes down to classic feel versus EV smoothness. When it comes to WLTP claims for this particular model, it sits between 32 and 33.6. So I thought I'd put this to the test on a long road trip to France. Start of the journey, so we have got 460 miles in the tank, but that is based on my kind of town driving recently. So let's see how far we can get on a full tank. As part of our road trip test, we're actually travelling by Le Shuttle, which is my favourite way to be able to get to France. There is honestly so many reasons to love Le Shuttle, but one of my favourite reasons is that you can take all the luggage you could ever need. There's no limitations like when you fly or even if you get the Eurostar. One ticket also covers up to 9 people, and you can even bring along your pets as well. It takes just 35 minutes to get to France. That's just about the time to get comfortable and grab a snack. Plus, they've also now partnered with Avios, so you can gain Avios points. And if you book before the end of this month, you can even get double Avios points when you book Flexi Plus. This isn't sponsored, but my journey was gifted, and this truly is my favourite way to travel. We are finally in France. We're at our last destination. I do have to quickly switch this to be in, where is it, units, back to miles, so I can show you how many miles are left. But we have gotten to France with 135 miles left, 34.6 miles per gallon over 318 miles, which I'm pretty buzzing about. What I will say about this car is its split personality is really apparent. So if you pop it in normal mode, which is what I've been doing a lot of my driving when I've been doing long distance driving, wanting to get good efficiency, and it's very subtle to drive. It's very quiet. It doesn't have a huge amount of personality. Of course, with this car having a firmer setup, it's pretty firm no matter what mode you're in. But the real difference comes when you put it into CUPRA mode, and I think really this is where this brand shines. So hit that lovely CUPRA button on the steering wheel, which is so prominently placed, and instantly it completely changed the personality, especially if you want to use the paddles behind the steering wheel. This becomes then far more like a performance car that you may be looking for. But I love the fact that it has those two personalities, because this is a family car at the end of the day. It's quite a big SUV. So if you want something which can do the road trips or the school runs and be efficient in doing it, then it can do that. But if you want to take it out on the weekend and have a little bit of fun, I love that you can pop it in that lovely CUPRA mode, and then instantly you get a roar from that 2-litre petrol engine. And you just get so much engagement through the chassis. Dynamic chassis control as standard is a really nice feature, and something you'll pay quite a lot of money for on a Golf R. And that really kind of shines this car's personality in the fact that you do get quite a lot extra as standard compared to if you go for something else from Volkswagen Group, or perhaps if you go for an Audi or a Golf GTI or Golf R. And that's kind of where this car really has its benefits. It is super fun to drive. Of course, it's not as fun as a Golf R because it has been detuned slightly, but once again, I think that just better suits the personality of this car because you are going to be carrying the family in it a lot of the time. But I like the fact that it can kind of do it all. Is it my favourite CUPRA? No. I think that goes to the Leon estate, but I do think it's a very practical family SUV, which can still be a lot of fun. Right, so inside the back, it's okay. There's actually not quite as much legroom as I was expecting. This is a little bit further back than my driving position, but even still, I did think there would be more room in the back. And this is with the bench slid all the way backwards. So it does get a sliding bench, which can give you more boot space, which in this instance isn't great because then I've got no legroom at all. But if you're not using the rear seats and you want to put more space in the back, or if you've got tiny people in the back, then it will be great. I do actually have third row ventilation and third row climate control, which is really nice. And I've got 2 USB-C charging ports. Pull down this armrest and I've got 2 cup holders. But I think it's a little bit of a shame because inside of the Volkswagen Tiguan, of which this car is based, you get a kind of like fancy setup where you can put your mobile phone in this central armrest. And despite this being based on that car, I haven't got that. I've just got 2 cup holders, but they're perfectly fine. I've also got plenty of space in the door cards, which is good because there isn't anything on the backs of the seats. You get these kind of like hard seat backs, which is good because it means they wipe clean, but not great because there's no storage. Overall, it's okay in the back here. If you didn't have the panoramic sunroof, I think it would be really dark, so that's definitely helping. And there isn't quite the space in the back that I was expecting, but it is still bigger than the Formentor. So that is the CUPRA Terramar. CUPRA shot at a premium feeling family SUV. It isn't flawless. The ride can be firm on rough roads and that touch slider control drives me mad. And on lower trims, those 18-inch wheels, they just make it look a bit too modest. But step back and it's clear that this is a distinctive, fun to drive alternative in a sea of safe family SUV choices. And I would say that it delivers on Cupra's promise of character, sharp steering, their strong performance, and the cabin that feels genuinely special without feeling too gimmicky. Plus with a 5-year warranty and fuel economy, which really did pleasantly surprise me on my long road trip to France. It's not just style over substance. But let me know, what do you guys think of the CUPRA Terramar? Pop it in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed the video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up just for dealing with the wind today. And if you want to see more videos like this, then make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Until next time, guys, see you later.